Welcome to BSL Newsround 19. Today I was hoping to talk to our two directors, Ian and Andrew, but
Hello.
unfortunately Ian's not here today, so I do have Andrew here and I'm going to hand over to him to talk about his marathon experience. Hello.
Hello, good morning. You alright?
Yeah, good morning. So, how long did you start training before the marathon?
Well, for the marathon, I first started training in the middle of November last year. Yeah.
And did you feel that was enough time?
I think I panicked a little bit at the beginning. You know, I'm generally quite fit anyway. I'm normally quite fit. Not enough for a marathon. Obviously, I needed to train in plenty of time for that, but I felt quite confident, you know, in the middle of November that I would be ready for the end of April. But looking back, it was too much, really. I started way too early. If I do it again next year, I would definitely delay the start of training a little bit. It was the main reason I injured myself, really, because I trained too much. And I hurt my calf in my left leg. In fact, I strained it quite badly, had big problems. And I had to delay a lot of my training after Christmas because I was in so much pain. I saw a physio, I saw a doctor, I went for a scan. They couldn't find a problem. Eventually, my physio realised what was wrong and that it was an extreme form of cramp. It wasn't, you know, a normal kind of cramp that hurts a little bit. This was terrible. It felt like I'd been stabbed in my leg. But luckily, once we realised what the problem was, my physio was able to alleviate it and I could get back to the training.
So did you do some of the training as Ian, start at the same time?
Well, Ian was fine. I think Ian was more experienced than me because he'd done it last year, whereas I didn't know what to expect.
Okay, so you've been through your training and the marathon's getting closer, say example 2 days before. How did you feel? Were you nervous or did you feel ready?
Well, one day before I was really nervous. In fact, my wife and Ian as well, actually, they stopped me from going out for a run. Because I was starting to panic a little bit. I was thinking, my God, I've only got one day. Am I ready for this? Luckily, I managed to calm down again. You know, and then the day before I did nothing but lie around and watch the telly.
So once you actually got into the race, what was the atmosphere like? What did you feel like being there?
Oh, the atmosphere was unbelievable. When we left the house in the morning, which was about 7:30, to get the train down to Greenwich, we arrived, along with all the other people there, to get ready for the start of the race. The atmosphere was incredible. It was absolutely buzzing with people talking and shouting and music and people with microphones shouting at us to encourage us. It was a wonderful experience.
Oh, amazing. So obviously it's a challenging experience being in the marathon. And how did you cope with that going through, you know, through the miles that you were doing?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, when you started the experience of being in the marathon and that's it, you were over the line and you were going through, I mean, how many miles is it altogether?
How many miles in total? It's 26.3.
And do you feel you achieved it well?
I felt it was okay at the begin with until I hit mile 18. Have you heard of the wall? Have you heard of that? It's a psychological term.
Yeah.
It's where your body just feels like it can't do any more, and there's an imaginary wall in front of you. Now, I had expected to hit the wall and then for a couple of miles struggle through, and then the wall would disappear again and I would continue. I was completely wrong, unfortunately. This is what it was like. I was running and running and running and running. And then about mile 16, 17, I felt fine. I was looking up at the signs telling me how many miles I'd done. And then when I got to mile 18, I saw that up there. And then I hit the wall. My body... Well, also it's really important to realise that mile 18 actually represented more than I'd done in my training. You know, I'd never experienced anything beyond 18 miles before, so my body didn't know what to expect. My mind was very positive. My psychology was very positive. But when I hit the wall, I did expect a couple of miles later to resolve the feeling that I had and get through it. But, I mean, if you imagine what it was like, I hit the wall, right? And it was like I was running and pushing this wall in front of me. And 1 or 2 miles later, when I was expecting to have got through the wall, it didn't happen. And it felt like I pushed the wall all the way till the finish line. And I would say it was probably the most difficult experience of my life so far.
Wow. I mean, did you think you have enough support? I mean, in terms of you and Ian?
The support was unbelievable and really overwhelming. Honestly, I've never experienced London like that in my life. Every street you went on was lined with people shouting encouragement and waving flags. And also my vest, I had my name on it.
You had Andrew on it?
Well, no, actually, it wasn't my full name. It was my nickname.
Okay.
Well, it's the name that my wife uses for me, actually, which is Chunks.
Okay, I see.
Right, because I've got big legs, basically. And, you know, every kind of 5 seconds, somebody was shouting, "Come on, Chunks, go on, Chunks." And like I said before, it was quite overwhelming, actually. It was really too much. I've never experienced London like that before.
And you appreciated having your name on your vest?
Oh, definitely. Interestingly, Ian, on his vest, he put his full name, Ian, on there. So he went through a similar experience to me. Come on, Ian, come on, Ian. Go on, Chunks, because we were running together. It was fab.
Yeah, so it seems nice that you shared that experience. So when you were nearly finishing the race, how did you feel? Nervous, or, you know, what was your emotion like at the time?
To be honest, when the end was coming, my mind was gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, my mind was absolutely shot. I couldn't think of anything at all. I was just looking for where the finish line was. And if you see some photos of me after, say, mile 20 or so, you can see in my face that there's nothing there. I'm completely blank. I'm just running on empty, really. I saw my family, I think it was on mile 23, and that was good. That helped. That was quite close to Blackfriars Bridge.
Uh-huh.
And I could see Westminster in the distance, and I knew that just around the corner we'd be finishing. So I knew that the end was in sight, which was an emotional feeling. But I suppose when there were 6 or 7 miles left, I mean, that's quite disheartening. You think the end is coming, but you know you've still got that amount of pain for every single step left to navigate.
So when you actually crossed the finishing line, how did you feel? I mean, what was the emotion running through you?
Well, one thing that I realised is that I had sunstroke. When the end was in sight, I felt really, really exhausted and really, really thirsty. But when I got over the line, I couldn't stop drinking water. And sugar drinks as well, glucose drinks. But none of it seemed to be working. And I couldn't stop drinking water. And when I sat down, and that was quite amusing actually, when I tried to sit down, my legs had just frozen up and locked. So it was literally like this when I sat down. I looked behind me and I could see there was grass behind me, and I went like that, flop. Because I couldn't bend my legs at all.
Oh.
It was really painful. So anyway, I was sat down and I calmed myself down and I was drinking water, and then I thought, okay, I'm ready to get up. And I was sick, physically sick. And from there until, say, 3 or 4 hours later, I couldn't stop being sick.
Ooh,
and it was because of the sun, because I had sunstroke.
Because it was a really hot day then, right?
Well, the weather should have been cloudy and breezy, but it really changed and it was really hot. You know, which felt quite nice at the time when I was running. But then as I got towards the end, you know, I realised that it wasn't healthy.
So, you know, you feel like you've really sweated through that sun.
Yeah, that's right.
So, how do you feel about your achievement? You know, that you've now won your medal.
You mean this?
Yeah, that's it. Wow, congratulations.
Honestly, I'm still not sure I've completely absorbed the fact that I've done it. On the day after I started to feel better, the emotions of it really started to sink in. The morning after, it's difficult to describe, but it was quite emotional. It was really overwhelming. It was a bit too much for me. If you look at photos of me, there's about 20 different photos of me, which I was looking at on the computer screen. And it was really exciting. And now I'm just waiting for a professional photographer to blow them up for me. You know, looking back, I know it was a really valuable achievement and I'm really proud of it. But, you know, knowing that there was still 6 miles to go till the end was really disorientating. And my memories are a bit foggy after that point, to be honest with you.
So, having achieved it, do you think you'll do it again next year?
I want to, but to be honest with you, me and my wife have got different priorities for next year. We want to buy a house, we'd like to have a baby. And when you're training for the marathon, other things kind of need to be put to one side, really.
Yeah, I understand.
So next year, I think the priorities has to be my family. Or maybe in 2 years, I'll do it again.
So, I believe you were actually being sponsored for the races. Is that correct?
Yes, the charity we were raising money for was the Terence Higgins Trust. They raise money to improve awareness of treatment options for people with HIV and AIDS. The old-fashioned stereotypical view of HIV and AIDS is that it's for drug abusers and for gay men, and it's completely incorrect. But that is fairly common, unfortunately.
So how much did you need to raise?
Well, between the three of us, we had to raise about £4,000.
Gosh, that's a lot.
And so far we've achieved about 3,300, 200. We've got about 2 or 3 weeks left to raise money, which is quite lucky, before we have to pass it on. So we're still fundraising now. So if you're interested, please contact us. Anything, £5, £1, 10p, anything, please just let me know.
And more information and details can be found here if you want to sponsor Ian or Andrew, or maybe contact one of the team here. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye for now.